You see those people who just seem to attract,
Yeah.
well, everything good, success, opportunities, it just flows to
Yeah.
them.
Like things just fall into their lap sometimes.
Exactly. And the articles you sent, covering everything from like brain science to these amazing personal stories, they all seem to point towards this idea of manifestation,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, sounds a bit out there sometimes, but it's apparently more than just wishing hard.
Right. It's definitely not just wishful thinking. The sources touch on some really interesting concepts, how our attention directs our energy, this law of attraction idea some talk about, but also, crucially, how our actual brain wiring and psychology play a part.
Okay, so that's what we're diving into today, trying to unpack what manifestation really is based on all this material and maybe figure out how you can actually use it.
Exactly. How thoughts, beliefs, desires,
hmm
how they might genuinely shape what happens to you.
So let's start there. This core idea, our inner world affecting our outer world. How does that actually work based on the reading?
Well, a big theme is this idea that energy follows attention. Basically, what you put your focus on consistently, it tends to grow. It becomes more prominent in your world.
So if you're always dwelling on problems,
You probably notice more problems, yeah, or obstacles seem bigger. But if you focus on, say, possibilities or
you
solutions,
start seeing paths you didn't see before.
precisely. One of the personal accounts mentioned exactly that, setting a really specific goal and then suddenly noticing opportunities that seemed, well, invisible before.
Is that just noticing, though, or is something else happening?
It's likely a mix. It's not passive. It's actively directing your focus. And some of the neuroscience stuff hints that setting a clear intention actually primes your brain
Primes it how?
to seek out and recognize information related to that goal. It's like you're telling your brain what's important right now.
Okay, like tuning a radio to a specific frequency. Makes sense. Now, beliefs.
Hmm.
They seem absolutely central in a lot of this material. How do they fit in?
Beliefs are like the operating system, they filter what you even think is possible. This connects directly to the self-fulfilling prophecy idea mentioned in one source.
Ah, right. If you truly believe you can do something.
You're way more likely to take the actions needed to persist when it gets tough. But if you have these limiting beliefs,
Like, I'm not smart enough, or good things don't happen to me.
exactly those kinds of things, they can act like invisible walls, even if consciously you're saying you want something different. It's like an underlying program running interference.
Wow. So you could be trying to manifest success, but if deep down you feel unworthy.
That belief could definitely be undermining your efforts, yeah. Which brings us to emotions. Some of the more, let's say, experiential accounts really highlighted feelings.
Yeah, the high vibrations thing. What's the thinking there? Is it literal vibrations?
Probably not literal sound waves,
Yeah.
but think of it more like a state of being. When you're feeling genuinely good, grateful, joyful, excited, like those stories described.
They're more open.
Exactly. You're maybe more receptive, more likely to spot positive opportunities that align with those feelings, like you're tuned in differently.
And the opposite is true too. Fear, doubt,
Mm.
they block things.
They can certainly create resistance, yeah. If you're constantly anxious about not getting something, that feeling itself can kind of repel it, or at least make you less likely to see or act on chances.
Okay, so mindset, focus, emotions, they're all playing together. But I can hear some listeners thinking, okay, interesting, but where's the science? Some of the articles you sent were quite scientific.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's not hard science like physics, maybe, but there are compelling links in neuroscience. Take the reticular activating system, the RAS.
The RAS,
Yeah.
that was in the brain function article. What does it do again?
It's essentially your brain's filter. It sorts through the massive amount of sensory information coming in and decides what gets your conscious attention. So when you set a clear intention, like, I want to find opportunities to use my creative skills, your RAS can actually start highlighting things related to that, conversations, articles, events that you might have completely ignored before.
Ah, the classic example. You decide you want a red car.
And suddenly you see red cars everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. They were always there, but
Yeah.
your RAS is now tagged red car as relevant.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And neuroplasticity, how does that tie in?
Neuroplasticity is just the brain's amazing ability to change and rewire itself based on what you repeatedly do, think, and feel.
So thoughts can actually change your brain structure.
Over time, yes. If you consistently practice affirmations, visualize success, really feel the positive emotions associated with your goal, like those success stories detailed, you're strengthening the neural pathways for those thoughts and beliefs.
You're literally building a brain that supports your goal.
In a way, yes, it makes those positive states and beliefs feel more natural, more default. And that influences your behavior, your choices.
Okay, not just wishful thinking then, it's active brain training. What about the placebo effect? That came up too.
Right. The placebo effect is fascinating. It shows just how powerful belief is. People can experience real, measurable physical changes just because they believe they're receiving an effective treatment, even if it's, a sugar pill.
Mind over matter, literally.
It really highlights that mind-body connection. In manifestation terms, it suggests that having a strong, unwavering belief that your goal is achievable can significantly influence your perception, your actions, maybe even your physiology in ways that help bring it about.
Okay, so it's this blend of mindset, focus, maybe some brain chemistry, and energy, not just woo-woo.
I think that's a fair summary based on the sources, yeah.
Right, let's get practical. If someone's listening and thinking, okay, I want to try this, what are the actionable steps that came through the guides you shared?
Okay, yeah. Most sources suggested a kind of structured approach. Step one, and this came up again and again, get crystal clear on your desire.
Clarity, not just, I want more money.
Exactly. That's way too vague. Your brain doesn't really know what to latch onto. It needs specifics. Like one example was aiming for attracting an extra $10,000 through my side business within the next 3 months.
Much clearer. Specific amount, source, time frame.
Right. That gives your focus and your RES something concrete to work with. Detail helps.
Okay, clarity first. What's step two?
Cultivating belief. This is moving beyond just hoping it might happen to knowing it's possible for you, even if you don't see how yet.
That sounds like a big leap for some things. How do you cultivate that?
Affirmations came up a lot, repeating positive statements about your goal as if it's already true. Like that person you mentioned who started their day affirming their goal.
I'm successfully running my own business, that kind of thing.
Yes, present tense, positive. And visualization. This was big in several accounts, creating really vivid mental movies of already having what you desire.
Like Olympic athletes visualizing the perfect race.
Exactly like that. It builds familiarity, confidence, and reinforces those neural pathways we talked about. It makes the goal feel real on a deeper level.
Okay. Clear desire, strong belief. What's next? Step three.
Step three is about managing your emotional state, or raising your vibration, as some call it, getting into those positive feelings we discussed.
How, though? You can't just decide to be joyful all the time.
No, of course not. But you can use tools. Gratitude lists were mentioned, frequently focusing on what you do have, meditation, spending time in nature, listening to uplifting music, anything that genuinely shifts you into a more positive, appreciative state.
So it's about intentionally cultivating good feelings.
Yes, because that state seems to be more conducive to attracting positive outcomes. And equally important is noticing and releasing limiting beliefs, fears, and doubts when they pop up.
Don't let them hijack the process.
Right, acknowledge them, maybe explore where they come from, but don't dwell. Gently redirect your focus back to your intention and the positive feelings.
Makes sense. Clarity, belief, good vibes. What's step four?
Inspired action. This is crucial. Manifestation isn't passive. The universe, or whatever you call it, might present opportunities, but you have to act on them.
Can't just visualize winning the lottery without buying a ticket.
Precisely. If you want that new job, you need to polish your resume, network, apply for positions, want a relationship. You need to put yourself out there, be open to meeting people. It's about taking action that feels aligned with your goal.
Action driven by the intention, not just busy work.
Exactly. Action that feels right, that moves you forward.
Okay, that covers a lot. Is there a final step?
Yes, and it's a bit subtle, mentioned in some of the more nuanced guides. It's detachment and trust.
Detachment, after all that focus. Seems contradictory.
It does, a bit. But it means letting go of how and when it has to happen.
Huh.
Obsessing over the details, constantly checking for results, feeling desperate that energy can actually create resistance.
So it's like planting a seed. You water it, give it sun, but you don't keep digging it up to see if it's growing.
That's a perfect analogy. You set your intention clearly, cultivate belief, feel good, take action, and then you trust. You trust the process, trust that it's unfolding, and you let go of the anxious need to control it all.
Okay, that's a powerful framework. Clarity, belief, vibration, action, trust. But it doesn't always work, does it? Some sources mention people struggling. Why is that? What are the common mistakes?
Yeah, that's important to address. Pitfalls. We touched on one already. Vagueness, I want to be happy, is lovely. But what does that look like specifically? Compare it to, I am enjoying my fulfilling career as a graphic designer and spending quality time with supportive friends. Much clearer target.
Right. Specificity matters. What else?
Focusing on lack, this is huge. If your internal monologue is constantly, I'm so broke, I never meet anyone nice, this is impossible.
You're manifesting more of that.
Exactly. You're reinforcing the very thing you don't want. Your energy, your focus is on the lack, not the abundance or the possibility.
Ouch. Okay, that's a big one. Anything else?
Consistency, or rather, lack of it. Many sources stress this is a practice. It's not a magic button you push once.
Like going to the gym once and expecting to be fit.
Perfect comparison. You have to
Yeah.
consistently practice the clarity, the belief work, the emotional management, the inspired action. Giving up after a week or two because you don't see instant results. Well, you haven't given it a real chance to work. You haven't built the muscle yet.
Manifestation is a muscle. I like that. Needs regular workouts.
Mm-hmm.
So wrapping this all up then, what's the big takeaway from this deep dive? Synthesizing all these different perspectives.
I think the core message is that you genuinely possess this incredible ability to influence your reality. It's not magic necessarily, but a learnable skill involving your thoughts, your core beliefs, your emotions, and crucially, your actions.
About consciously directing yourself.
Yes. Consciously directing your inner world to help shape your outer experiences.
And for someone listening, feeling maybe intrigued, maybe a bit skeptical, but wanting to experiment, what's the starting point?
Based on the practical guides, start small. Pick something you desire that feels believable, achievable. Don't start with, I want $1 billion by Tuesday.
Build confidence first.
Exactly. Go through the steps, get clear, work on the belief using affirmations or visualization, practice feeling good about it, watch for and take those small inspired actions and try to practice that trust and detachment. See what happens.
Experiment, learn, build that muscle. It's really fascinating how the science bits, the psychological insights, and those personal stories all kind of converge on this idea.
They really do point to this deep connection between what goes on inside us and what we experience out there.
So the final thought then really is that you're not just passively experiencing life.
Absolutely not. As so many of these sources suggest, you are, in a very real sense, the creator of your reality. Keep exploring that power. Keep believing, keep visualizing, keep taking those steps.